So maybe you can help me.
Yeah. I mean, it's the beauty about always when I think about your kind of business, B2B, it's people always try to tell me what's the difference between B2B and B2C. And I always mentioned it's human to human because the most valuable people, I mean, your products are anyway beyond, how shall I say, the traditional quality or whatever it is. Otherwise, people wouldn't buy it. So you deliver the quality that people are looking for. So in terms of product, you already deliver. But at the end of the day, it's the personal relationships. And the personal relationships always kick in when I look at our 12 years of research is post-purchase because it only buying is easy, you know. Using is a completely different thing. And you know it from your business. The challenges occur once people are starting to use your products, you know, install them, get them, etc., etc. And this is where B2B is far more advanced in terms of investing in the post-purchase experience, looking at what drives positive or negative word of mouth in terms of what drives share of wallet. So again, but it makes it much easier because you have a few clients rather than talking to segments of millions or billions of people. So the more sophisticated you can do it, the better you are. And it's at the end of the day, it's human being versus human being. And we look at the best key account managers in B2B, they know their products without any doubt, but they are the people who can connect to other people because they have the empathy skills, active listening, and they are naturally curious about other human beings. And when we talk with them, come
And
on.
you teach that, or do
Yeah,
you
we
do
teach
people
that
that
as
don't have it?
yeah, we teach it as a matter of fact because it's a, I mean, it we try to facilitate the learning of it. Everybody knows the importance of it, but there are certain technologies and methods you can use in order to enhance that. But I mean, it also depends on the size of the client that I'm working with. The larger the corporation, the poorer normally the empathy skills and everything are, because people are driven by commission, by sales, which makes sense. But it's not the fault of the key account manager, it's the fault of the company who said, this is the only thing that's valuable to me. While if you have a company that's, how shall I say, more agile and more focused and look at it more client or customer centric, they always say it's not about selling, it's about building a relationship. And by the way, when people trust you and you deliver for them, they do business with you. So the cause and effect relationship is sometimes turned upside down. So we have to kind of reprogram people. We tell them, yeah, we know why you're doing this. However, try it this way and then it will work. And it takes time, obviously, because people are not used to working in a particular way. But once you give them the liberty to do so and you give them also the trust to do so, you have marvelous results. I just met with a client of mine where they introduced the customer experience centric thinking in their international sales force. And now they're called not Salesforce anymore. Now they're called value developers, which I find kind of interesting. So now they go to their clients and say, I don't want to sell, but how can we provide value to you? Which was a shock for most of the clients. Really? Are you interested in that? Okay, this is what I need, ABC. And now 3 years
There's a
after,
limit to everything, Professor, because in the end we also have to sell. So
yeah, but it's true. But you are there in the first place because they want to buy from you, you know. But
yeah,
at the end of the day, we can see it. And these people came back and said, we sell more than ever before without selling it. We have the highest share of wallet, and our customers are quite happy. And we get so much referred business because in B2B, it's even more important than in B2C because there are just a few that are always together. So if one buyer likes it, they normally speak to another one, say, these guys are really great, you should try with them. You know?
yeah. I think it's very important, very fascinating area you're working in. We have around 500 salespeople globally, and we have we are in business for more than 100 years. Our company was founded in 1897.
Wow.
So we have some very long relationships, and they work very well. For example, one of our distributors, the largest, let's say, wood-based pantry in Central and Eastern Europe, an Austrian company, we work with, since we are a family business, we work with them since 4 generations. I'm the 4th generation already.
Wow. Impressive.
So, but then we have other clients who are, we sell to all the big do-it-yourself retailers globally. So, Home Depot, Lowe's, B&Q,
Yeah.
Castorama, they're all our clients. And these clients, sometimes let's say the people responsible for our relationship, they're changing every 5 minutes, at least every year or every 2 years.
Yeah.
And you have to be very patient, and you always start from the bottom again.
It's true. I mean, the challenges in your business that your partners, especially the larger the corporation gets, the shorter the lifespan of a partner is, or your partner you're talking to, because they, as you mentioned, switch so frequently. Yeah.
But, and so you teach this in the university in Monaco.
Yeah, and to be quite honest, I feel quite fortunate. Before I became a scientist, I was a manager. So for me, it's I was on the other side of the table. So for me to find out what is important to a manager versus rather what's important to my colleague in theory is much easier, and therefore it's easier to convert. So we have executive education programs who are especially targeting these kind of what people call them soft skills. I'm not very happy with that term, because in business nothing is harder and more evident than what they call the soft skills. But emotional intelligence, empathy, listening skills, post-purchase experience, the importance of that, how to develop relationship, how to reinforce it, moments of truth, critical incidents, how we even link them to profitability, which is important for the company, because the company says, yeah, because we know sometimes executive education is seen as like we have a week in Monaco, and have a great time there. But we always say, look, we want to link it to a financial performance. So after you come to us and you go back, we want you to see that there's a difference in terms of how your clients perceive you, how their ratings are, if they recommend you, if they buy more and more often, and these kind of things. So our research is very performance driven, which is important.
You only do executive education, or you also, let's say, you have regular students as well?
We have regular students as well. So we have a lot of master students. I only teach in the master program. So we have MBAs. So you can do a Master of Business Administration either in a 1-year program, or you can do it part-time or quasi on demand, which is a solution that becomes more and more popular, because often we find that managers like you do not have the time to just say, I take off for 12 or 24 months and do nothing else than studying. Then we have our DBA students, which are our doctoral students, which look at a managerial problem much more in depth than you would look at your MBA. So you pretty much get the equivalent of a PhD, but based upon a managerial problem, which we often find that people like you sign up for that, because they say, this is a challenge I have in my business. I want to fix it, but I want to get the science with it, not just see how it feels or a case study here and there. I want to have all the tools that I need. And then we have a lot of students which are in the master program. And the most prolific programs are, of course, our Master in Finance, wealth management and everything that comes, fintech, close to Monaco. And the Master in Luxury Management is very popular, which makes also sense for Monaco. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I never anything to do with the university in Monaco, so that's my first experience talking to you. Interesting.
To be quite honest, before I had an interview there, I knew very little about them too. I didn't even know Monaco had a university. I'm like, you have a university, really?
Who studies there?
Yeah, but it's interesting because it's when I think university, I think university in the traditional sense, like American sense of university. But IUM is a business school per se. It's just a university because the principality says it's a university. For me, it would be a business school anywhere else, but I like the focus of it. We have a nice focus, we use the brand, have a lot of people that we work locally together, which is very nice. Our students love the networking opportunities because it's so small.
Yes. And it's all in English, I presume, right?
Yeah, it's all in English. Yeah.
All in English, yeah.
Yeah, my French is horrible, so I couldn't survive a moment.
And where do you come from, or where did you teach before?
I was originally born and raised in Germany, but then I studied in Switzerland, and I was hired by a management consultancy company for doing international financial services crisis management, which kept me busy for quite some while. And I lived most of my adult life in the United States before I returned to the UK, where I did then my MBA, my MRes, and finally my PhD. And since then, as a scientist, mostly in the UK, and then I moved for private reasons to Italy and then Monaco. And there I've been now for more than 6 years, yeah.
Excellent.
But you're from Austria, aren't you?
I was born in Austria, yes.
Okay.
But then I grew up, first years of my life, I grew up in Germany, actually. Then I went to elementary school in Austria. I did my, let's say, gymnasium or high school also in Austria. And then I left Austria. Since then, I have not been back to Austria. So I lived in China for a year, and then I studied in the US, and then I was in London, and then I was in Hungary, and then back in the UK, and now I'm most of the time in between Switzerland and Luxembourg.
Yeah, both countries with some financial benefits for your company too, I reckon, to be headquartering and residing there. Not anymore, though, eh?
Not really. I think that the reason why we're in Luxembourg is we have a big factory here. And we invested a lot. But there are still some old tax deals for some, I don't know, companies like Amazon or something like that maybe, but let's say for normal companies like us, there's actually corporate taxes are quite high in Luxembourg compared to other countries.
I remember I worked in Luxembourg back in the days after they introduced the Quellensteuer in Germany. So I worked for a for a wealth management company in Luxembourg, just outside of these. I don't know I don't even know what the offices are called now today. The one close to the airport, So people flew in with the money and just came and unloaded their money. Yeah. Yeah, back in the days. Yeah, long time. But now.
Now, you want to talk to me about marics or yachts?
I wanted to know, when was the first time you ever thought about buying a yacht?
Oh, probably because I spent too much time in Monaco when I was a child.
That triggered it, so you got...
Very serious answer, not a joke.
No. I absolutely understand. So you have kind of a love for the sea developed there in Monaco?
Yeah, not the sea, but we used to live in the Monte Carlo Star. You probably know it, the building. And when I was a child, I used to go with my parents. Our entrance was in the tunnel, so that we would walk outside to the tunnel. We would walk down to the harbor.
Right, to the yacht club, yeah.
The restaurant at the corner. We would used to eat the fish there. We would always look at the boats, and we would look at the bigger boats, at the smaller boats, and which ones we liked or we didn't like. Yeah, that's where I guess I fell in love with them. So
Yeah. What made you fall in love with them?
I guess the beauty of them, the aesthetics.
Mm-hmm.
Not even so much the let's say the the freedom of going where you want to go or the sea. That was for me. It was always the let's say the aesthetics of the boat. What fascinated or what interested me the most.
Was there anything in particular?
No, I like I like motor yachts. I like sailing boats. But I always liked some and some I didn't like at all. I had always a particular taste.
Okay. Which one was the one you liked most and why? And the one that you completely said, oh no, never.
Yeah, I always liked elegant boats. Not so, I mean, elegant is a personal taste, but more, let's say, more elegant, old-fashioned sailboats, elegant motor yachts. That's what I always liked. I never liked the, let's say, the more modern ones.
Okay, I can see where you're coming from. So you're more, you like the traditional look, so to say, the classic look.
The classic. Let's call it classic.
Yeah.
Yes. And but anyway, I like. I also like art and architecture a lot, so I like nice things. Let's say.
Okay, so you always had an eye kind of for design.
Or design, yes, I would say so.
Ah, that makes sense. So, when was the first time then you were on a yacht?
Also in Monaco, we visited several yachts over the years, and sometimes my grandfather always had a sailing yacht, um, which I never really went. But my father also liked yachts, and he also has a yacht now. So when I was a kid, he used to take me. We looked at some yachts, and he was interested in them. So we visited several.
Were you also, but you mentioned that you kind of, the aesthetics where was drawing you in. So it was not so much going out on the sea or sailing or being in Nautica and so on, go out fishing.
Yes, no, not so
No,
much.
no, didn't like that. Ah, interesting. This one.
No, I like it. I like sailing on the. I grew up in Austria on the lake, so I always like to sail. I like sailing, but it's not that I like sailing so much. That's why I bought the yacht.
Ah,
That's not the
okay.
reason.
So why did you buy a yacht? Or when was the first time you said, now it's time for me, I want to have a yacht?
Um, so my wife, she's from Turkey, and we spend a lot of time in the summertime. Usually, my family, I have three small kids. They always spend their, let's say, summer holidays in Turkey, and the rest of the year they're, wherever I am traveling with me, in Switzerland or in Luxembourg. And so my wife, she tries to be in Bodrum on the seaside, where she, has her friends and their family, and we have a house there. And yeah, uh, there are lots of boats around. It's a very nice area to have a boat. So that's when we decided some years ago that we would like to have one. Um, yeah.
And how did you go about selecting it? I mean, I'm sure you were drawn by aesthetics, but
Yeah, I can tell you how it happened. So it was Corona. It was a very rainy day, bad day in Luxembourg. So I went on Amazon and I bought a book about yachts. And some weeks later, it arrived in the mail, and it was this book from Vripack. Maybe you've seen it. I don't know if Manix has showed it to you. I'm sure you know it.
yeah.
So that I was looking like a coffee table book, and
Yeah.
no serious no intention to buy a yacht or anything like that. But then I was looking at this spot, and there was this one particular yacht which I liked very much. Um, called RH3 in the book. And okay, then I looked at the videos online of this yacht. I liked the design of it. That was it. Some weeks later, I gave Manix a call, or not Manix, one of his.
Bart, probably.
Sorry?
Probably Bart.
No, but
Yeah.
some of his guys I was in contact with. I
Yeah.
got an email that I had their book. I was interested in IH3, and I saw that they, made a conversion, and I would be interested in a similar yacht, and if they have some ideas or proposals. So we started talking, and then he told me that there is a sister vessel to IH3 called Yasmin, and actually the sister vessel is in Bodrum, and it's for sale. So I said, okay, very nice. And a couple of weeks later, I went to my house in Bodrum, so I flew to Bodrum, and from the airport I was driving home, and shortly before I reach my home, I look out of the window. There's a bay, and this Yasmin is anchored in this bay. I said, that's nice. Then I went home. Next day, I sit on my terrace at home, and this Yasmin is sailing in front of my house. So I said, that must be a sign. So I had to call this agent. So I called this Greek agent. I got the contact from Vripack, which was selling the boat, and I said, I know that this boat is for sale, and I wanted to contact you. I'm in Bodrum, and I would like to visit her. And then Dimitris, this agent, said, yes, I will come tomorrow or the day after. And then I visited the yacht with my wife. We had a look at it, and we liked it instantly. And then I asked the agent for the price or the offer and for the conditions. And then he named me a price. And then I thought about it for some days. I gave him a call. I said, look, the owner of this yacht is anyway one of the richest guys in Turkey. He has a very, very high expectation for his yacht. My offer will be much lower, so I don't want to offend him, so let's leave it at that. And then we left it at that, and then I said, before I spend so much money, I will design my own yacht with Manix, and I did. So through the next year, with my wife and I, with Manix together, we were designing, let's say, a yacht which is, let's say, based on that yacht, similar to that yacht, but anyway, and a different one. And then we went all the way to, let's say, making the plans and going to tender and getting the offers from the shipyards. I visited a few shipyards. And then when I was close to, let's say, finalize the deal and order it from one of the shipyards, I said, I might as well, when I saw the price the shipyards were offering at the delivery time, then I said, I might as well call the agent again and see if this Yasmin is still for sale. A year later, so I called Dimitris again and I asked him, look, Dimitris, are you still working on selling Yasmin, or did you sell it already? And he said, no, I didn't sell her yet. I said, I told you, you're asking too much money for her. And then I asked him, what is the rock bottom price I can offer that we can make a deal? And then he named the number, and I offered a little less, and then we met in the middle, and then the deal was done. So not so good for Manix because I didn't follow through to build one, but at least I have a yacht now which is delivery time was 0 and working immediately.
Hey, important is that it worked for you, I reckon. Yeah.
Yes.
I like the fact that you, in all the process, you had your wife with you. I really like the dynamics,
Yes. Yeah, no, I mean, she has to enjoy it, otherwise it makes no sense for me.
That makes sense. So that's an interesting story. So you got the book, you looked at it and say, oh, that's interesting. Let's call these guys up and say, oh, it's really nice. You have something like that. And I said, not this one, but the sister one. And the sister one kind of was right in front of your house, sailed around. And price was, you didn't want to offend. But then you then you contacted Marnix and said, listen, how could we possibly make that happen if I have one for myself, correct?
I contacted Manix before because it was Manix's book, right?
Okay.
And I was always trying to evaluate to buy a second-hand one or to build a new one with Manix. I always had both options in mind, let's say.
Why both? Because they're kind of having a different experience in mind or different benefits.
My father just built a yacht maybe 5 years ago, so I know exactly what experience it is and what pain it is. So I didn't necessarily want to go for the pain. And on the other hand, I'm a business person. I always want the best value for my money or whatever. So
makes sense.
I wanted to consider both.
Yeah. And you also mentioned, probably subconsciously, but I have to ask, you mentioned important was also that it was available, that you could, once you made the decision, you were looking for also, so if I make the decision and the plunge, I might as well enjoy it right away and don't have to wait any farther.
Yes, exactly. That was, because I knew from my father's experience that if a shipyard promise and Manix, they will promise you a time to build it, but until everything works, it anyway takes longer. And so that I knew that the benefit of second hand would be that, once you make the decision, it's available.
Yeah, makes sense. So you kind of waited out, will I have it completely tailor-made to my needs?
Exactly.
With all the challenges that comes with it?
And all the benefits that it's exactly to my liking, let's say. Or it's also not true because you imagine that it's to your liking, but you don't actually see it until it's done, and maybe you make a mistake in the process of building it, right?
Yeah.
On the other hand, yes, you buy something which is a little bit older, which is, let's say, proven, which is working, but maybe has some compromises which doesn't fully meet all your, let's say, desires.
But one thing clearly based upon your initial motivation and what you said is so important to you, the aesthetics were the same, being it a system.
In a case, because, this boat, this explorer kind of yacht is what I was looking for. And the second-hand boat had that, offered that these aesthetics which I was looking for anyway. So if I would have built a new one, I would have built it based on that or similar to that. So
which makes sense. Yeah.
No issue. But I would not buy a second-hand boat which looks, I don't know, I would have no interest.
Makes sense. So
there were some interiors and stuff which were not nice, but I changed that in the first winter. It's no big deal.
That's easily done, I reckon. Since when do you, or when did you took advantage of the boat? When you took possession of the boat?
I took possession in August last year. So this was now my second season, let's say.
Okay, so it's in Turkey all the time?
Yeah, it's in Turkey. It's in the let's say the home port. The marina is in Bodrum, but I mean we go around the Mediterranean, but it lives in Turkey. Let's say.
Yeah. So you went out quite often, I reckon, at the beginning.
Not as much as I would like. Economically, it makes no sense. No, I used it maybe 3 weeks in the last year, and I mean we used it a lot. We used it a lot during the summer, yes, and we use it once when there's my kids go to school, so I only want to go with my kids. I don't go there alone. That makes no sense for me. Yes, we went once a week in May, then they were there, the whole summer, 2 months, let's say, and now we will go another week, let's say first week of November. So all in all, maybe 10 weeks.
Why not? How old are your kids, if I may inquire?
They are 4, 5, and 6.
Oh. And they're enjoying it, apparently.
Yeah, Yes, they enjoy it. Yes, they like, yeah, they like fishing. They like to be on the boat. They like swimming and stuff. But also they want to be sometimes on the shore and play with their friends. It's not. They don't always want to be on the boat.
Mm-hmm. And if they don't want to be, for you, it's more important to stay with them than being on the boat.
Yes, I mean, I'm anyway not there all the time, but my if they want to be closer to home, then they can go with the boat closer to home, and they can spend a few days at home.
Excellent. That's nice. So you like to create for them some memorable experience, so to say.
Yeah, I would say so. Yes.
So when you thought about purchasing the yacht, it was not just about you and your wife, it was about your whole family having
Oh, of
something.
course, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's for our family.
Excellent. So how were the interactions with Marnix and Vripack overall?
Oh well, I would say good, very very positive. I think Ranix is a very nice gentleman. Um, really, we were only working with Manix. I couldn't talk about the rest of the team. I don't really know them. But yeah, um, I think he's a nice person. I think he listens to the clients. He tries to take the clients' ideas on board. But on the other hand, I think they are also quite streamlined organization. So I think they have their designs. I mean, they alter them a little bit, but they have a system. They have the designs, and they try to stick with it as much as possible. I do think that.
Oh, it almost sounds like a little bit of a, how shall I say, tension. Because on one side, listening to the client, but they're saying, yeah, we can listen, but only in a limited way.
Yeah, I think he tries to sell it that everything is very bespoke. um, you have to be very clear and say you want it like that. Otherwise, they will
So there are some challenges
they will try to recycle an old idea and try to get done with the project as soon as possible and work on the next deal. I think I think in that business, yeah, of course, for them it's a business, and for you it's your yacht. It's two separate things, and of course we were very particular. We wanted to change things many times and see many options, and like an architect, he always tries to sell his idea, or nothing else.
Okay. But overall, you were still satisfied with what they had to
Yes.
offer. Yeah.
Yes, I think it was okay.
Okay. Even if you would have envisioned or hoped for more flexibility or incorporation of your ideas.
No, yeah, I would say um, maybe the only criticism would be that they should work harder and show more different options or do more iterations or to really strive to make it perfect. Sometimes I had the feeling that they make a draft and then you can change it once. They'll be happy to do that. But if you then try to change it again and again and again, they just want to fix it and get over with it. And I believe if something like this has to be perfect, yeah, maybe it takes 5 iterations or 10 iterations. Or frankly, I don't care how many times it takes. It must be perfect.
Yeah. I believe you made an excellent point when you said for them it's their business.
Yeah.
For you it's like your baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So where do you believe they could improve besides the points that you just mentioned?
I think they could improve, let's say, what I found out later now when I own a yacht and when I live on a yacht and when I see how this all works. I see a lot of details which Manix never pointed out to me when we were designing a yacht. Um, I don't know if he would have anyway included them, or maybe he would have forgotten it in his design because I didn't build the yacht with him. But on a yacht, Manix is very much about the design. I don't even know if he technically understands so well how the yacht works. And once I showed my plans, which I made with Manix, I showed them to my captain, and my captain looked at them and he said, and I was very proud of my plans, which I made with Manix over here. My captain said, yeah, but Mr. Kaindl, this is not going to work like this. Where is the storage for the trash? Where is this? Where is this? Where is this? Where is this? So I think maybe it would be good to have really let's say the user experience, not only of, I think he wants to build it very nice for the client or for the owner, that's clear, but it's also very important to consider, let's say, the captain and the crew, how they work, and it's a machine which has to work at the end of the day.
Yeah. And without the captain and the crew, you're not going too far, do you? Yeah.
So I think this is something maybe which is not so high on the focus of Vripack as it maybe should be.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Thank you for sharing that. Is there anything else you would like to add? I mean, you're a smart businessman, looking 500 salespeople, clients, global clients all over the world. Is there something else that you as a manager could say, you guys should probably look into this and that?
No, I think I think this is my main point. They're very friendly. Their presentation is very good. I think they're very client oriented. They follow up. I think that's all working well in that organization. But it's not only about not only about the design, but also about the functionality.
That makes sense.
I lost my screen, but you still see me, huh?
I can still see you. Yeah.
Okay.
I can see you even working with the telecommando.
Yeah, the TV after some hours it switches off automatically.
Switches off. Okay. Yeah. A little bit environmental friendly, you know. No, that's great. Is there anything else you would like to add?
No, I think no.
No.
I was happy with them. I'm very happy. I'm very happy with my yacht, and
Yeah.
it was originally also designed by Vripack, so it's working. It's good.
And by the way, did you contact any other designers, or was it Vripack right from the start, or did you also speak to others?
I didn't. I mean, I knew the people which did the sailing yacht for my father, but no, I didn't. I was not. I didn't contact any other designers.
Yeah.
I mean, I was looking at some yachts which were, let's say, not mass produced, but which are, let's say, produced where the plans are ready. I spoke to several shipyards, but like, let's say, designers or naval architects which only do the design, like Manix, I only spoke to him.
Okay, that makes sense. There's one thing I recall you mentioned in terms of the advantages of having it right away. Do you believe in the future, because super yachting is such a immature young industry, do you believe in the future it would be more that people look for either going all out into custom made, or they're looking more for what they call now semi ready yachts, almost like it's a package already there and you can amend it a little so you get it faster. Do you think that's a trend that will prevail?
I think there will be such clients and such clients, but I guess maybe the majority or maybe the market is bigger for these semi-custom solutions, because to make it fully custom from the beginning, it's a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of risk. this, and I believe, anyway, Vripack is already on this semi-custom route because they have certain, let's say, design elements which they try to recycle. I mean, I'm not, no yacht is the same probably, but there's also the yacht we were designing. He used another design, another hull as a starting point, and I think that makes sense because why should I take the risk to design a new hull if a naval architect like Manis can tell me, look, I've built this hull before, this is performing very well, and whatever you want to make on top of it, you can anyway choose yourself. So I think that makes sense.
So how is your life as a yacht owner?
Terrible.
Tell me about it.
It's a business. I have 9 employees more. I have 9 problems more. It's like I have another factory more with maintenance problems and people problems. Oh,
But what outweighs that?
sorry?
What outweighs it? The pain.
Oh, but yeah, it's very nice. What I like about owning it, it is always. I also don't charter it because it's for me. It's for my family. It's always there. I can use it whenever I want. It's available for me. Gives me a lot of flexibility. I think that's a benefit. And yes, I like being on the boat, and I love water skiing. So for me, the most important is water skiing. And so I have my water skiing boat always with me on the yacht. So this was my only real requirement. There's nothing nicer than waking up in the morning on the water, and if the water is flat, being able to slalom ski. And so that's what I enjoy very much.
Ah, good for you. I'm very happy.
Maybe it also, when I told you I grew up, I went to elementary school in Austria, and we were living on a lake in Austria, and we had our house was right at the lake, so I like to be on the water.
Makes sense. Yeah. No, that's nice. Good for you. I'm very happy for you.
I think water, the sea or the lake it's relaxing. It calms you down. I think it's something very nice. Water and mountains, both I like.
Yeah.
Both I don't have in Luxembourg.
This is why we live on the Riviera, because it's in Liguria in particular, it's so nice because you have the sea, and then 10 minutes to the sea or 10 minutes to the mountains, whichever way you want to go. It's a nice environment. I can completely understand why you love it that much. Yeah. Well, thank you so very much for taking the time out of your busy schedule.
It was a pleasure to meet you. It was very enlightening.
Oh, that's very kind of you to say. Whenever you're in Monaco and whenever you're around, just drop me an email or send me a message so we can meet, have a coffee somewhere, and you tell me more about your business. And aha,
One day you can help me with my salespeople.
probably. Who knows? We are always happy to help. But are you also planning on, because a lot of people have a tendency, once they have a boat, they want to immediately have a bigger one. Do you have the same kind of ambitions, or are you saying, no, this is just what I need?
For now, it's good. It's big enough for me. It's not that small, so I think it's big enough. And if you make it bigger, the problems get more, and do the benefits get more? I'm not sure.
Good question. I'm not so certain either, but I'm not a yacht owner, so.
No, I think for me the size of the yacht was important for me to be a certain size. I wanted to have enough space for me and my family, and I wanted to have another 2 cabins, let's say, so that I can invite some friends. Because if you're only sitting alone on your yacht, I think that's very, very sad and very boring. But, you know, to make it a cruise ship, first of all, I think it's unaffordable. And also, you lose the intimacy. You cannot go everywhere. Like with my yacht, it's still as a size. You can still go in every bay. You can still, you know, it's no big hassle. Let's say.
Yeah, so you have the flexibility that you need just to be where you want to be.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It
great.
would be nice if it's maybe a couple meters longer and you could have a little bit more of this or more of that. Yes, maybe, but
I mean, you got all your toys on there.
yeah. So I have what I want for now.
Let's see if the kids grow up what they want.
They should work first.
Well, I'm sure you will entice a good working ethics into them.
Yes, I think that's important.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you very much again for your time. It's a real pleasure meeting you and sharing all this insight with us. It's been a pleasure, and please keep in touch.
Yeah, keep in touch as well, and have a nice weekend.
You too. Take care. Bye bye.